Good day. This is podcast Diaci, and yes, it is in English today because we have a friend coming in, a guest, a beautiful guest who does not speak in Georgian, but for our
not
beautiful,
yet.
not yet,
Yes.
hopefully not. But for our beautiful Georgian listeners, there will be subtitles available, so we got you. Okay, so today's guest is Mariana Berezovska.
Yes.
Mariana, thank you for having time for us.
Of course,
and doing
yes.
everything beautiful in here, also in Tbilisi, which we will discuss later. But for the start, please introduce yourself
Yes.
to our listeners.
Okay, so I'll introduce myself there. So my name is Mariana Berezovska. I'm Ukrainian. I live in Berlin. I am a writer, a co-founder of Borshch Magazine, which is a print and also online magazine for electronic music. And also I'm a creative director of a few personal projects. And from recently I'm also a head of a music label, Standard Deviation, in Kyiv in Ukraine. Yeah. And I'm in Tbilisi now.
She's in Tbilisi because she started a beautiful project here.
Yeah, we started a project that Diaci is a part of, together with another collective here in Tbilisi called Trap House. The initiative that we're doing together is called She Space Tbilisi, and it's about female empowerment. It's about feminist values in Georgia, sisterhood values in Georgia, and music and body positivity.
Yes.
Because it involves things that we've done together. It involved workshops, talks, and also like a dope party at Test Club with trap music sets by female DJs and with pole dances by performers.
Many beautiful things that we really need. I mean, honestly, if it happened every month, I would be more than happy to.
But I think it
be part
does.
of it. I mean, workshops, not really.
Okay,
but maybe,
yes,
maybe party.
yeah.
We do love to party in Tbilisi and in Georgia. That's true. But like when it comes to workshops and sharing knowledge, maybe not. It's not. At least it's not that much. But okay, first of all, thank you for that, and thank you for reaching out and including us in this beautiful She Space Tbilisi. But let's talk more about you right now.
Yes.
Okay, so how you started and how you got into this music industry and why you got there, you know.
Yeah, so I've been in Berlin for I think 12 years now, almost 12 years, and of course I've been writing before that as well, but of course a place like Berlin with so many things happening is very inspiring to be a part of the music industry. And I've been always really fascinated by the format of a magazine and generally like a platform about culture, and there was not really a platform that it would really kind of be my aesthetic and my sort of format at that time in Berlin. And actually I tried to get into like a bigger platforms as well, but it was not easy. And then I was writing for one media platform in Amsterdam called Bitskickers, also like just met through connections, through interest. And also one more platform in Berlin called Senza Nostra. And then I met graphic designer Tiago Biscaya, who was also interested in similar topics, and he was making books and publications at that time as his job, and we decided to start the magazine, like to at least try to start a magazine. That was 2017. There was a lot happening.
So the Borshch idea started in Berlin, right? Not in Ukraine.
Not in Ukraine.
Did you also like write about music in Ukraine? Or?
No, because I left also quite early. I left after my bachelor graduation. I studied in Kyiv in the linguistic university. It was kind of a, I don't know, tough years, I think, for me, because living in the student's house with 4 other girls in the same room and studying quite a lot. Kyiv is tough for a student, I think. And then I had this like chance to go for a year to Germany, and then I found out that I could do like free master studies there, and this is how I stayed. But yeah, that started there. But also, it was also the period when in Kyiv the rave culture started getting bigger, more clubs open, so I was also going back and forth.
Yeah, I remember that period because I think I read an article somewhere and I was fascinated. It looked so like it was like an underground heaven of some sort.
It was, yeah. So it was an underground heaven, but then also we got cheaper flights. And then it became the rave spot, yeah.
Nice.
But what's important is that I'm not a crazy raver or anything. Also, the magazine is called Borshch for electronic music on and beyond the dance floor. And for especially the last few years, it has shifted a lot from rave and clubbing to actually writing about making music and about musicians, their stories, collaborating also with the festivals to do the programs that we did now as well, kind of a bit more workshop, it's kind of the nerdy things in music. So
How many
like
issues have you gathered for now?
Six,
issues.
But it's been also on hold for 2 years now. So the last one was during COVID, but then the war started in Ukraine and my focus really shifted from, but not from culture actually, but still, there was a lot to do.
What do you think was like an impact of Borshch Magazine, if you thought about that? Well, maybe impact even on you, to be honest.
I think it's definitely a really recognized project in Berlin and beyond for sure. Many people know it, which I also, it's at some point it became obvious that many people know it, but also very surprising because you just do your thing, you don't really, you just do your thing, you just do your work, and then when it becomes recognized, you are surprised yourself. I think you know it probably as well when you kind of, people know what we do and they actually read it. And it's an important reference also for the artist to be featured in the magazine. But it's like the impact, I think that this electronic music culture, club scene, it's a big industry. You don't feel it here, but you feel it a lot in Berlin. And it's often like a money-making industry as well. It's based on the values of community and all this, like big words of solidarity and supporting the marginalized people. Yes, it is this because it's clubs are often the only safe space for people who are marginalized and not accepted in the society elsewhere. But also it's a big industry. But I think it's like what we're trying with Borshch is to really bring back this value of what underground music culture is, and representing kind of a bit naughtier and wilder and voices, not to do it for like chasing some big names or anything like that. And it had also huge impact on me because I made so many friends through it, and I'm a bit kind of obsessed with work, but only the one that brings me joy. And just everything else kind of evolves around it. So it's my life.
Nice.
And also I really, because I'm doing other things as well. For instance, I started with this. Like I started since the war. Like it's been a bit more than a year now. Bringing together collaborations between audio and visual artists, and I have this project called Rybachka that's we like launched it, premiered it in Berlin in January, and then also showed it in Paris, in London, like in another place in Germany, and now we're going to Hamburg.
Can you tell us more about the project?
So it's a story. Everything, I think, for me, like storytelling is very important in things I do. So it's for now it's 2 episodes, so to say, where visual and sound artists come together and basically create a performance, tell a story. It also kind of got translated into words at the beginning as the, like the story of suffering and trauma, the reaction to the war in Ukraine, which it was a reaction. But for me, it's a bigger thing of bringing people together who know how to have a dialogue through their art without words. And we have this beautiful performance by Diana Azus, who is Ukrainian, Syrian artist, the visual multimedia artist, and Nazanin Nouri, who is an Iranian, German artist. And Diana created this video, which is almost like a movie. And Nazanin also makes the live soundtrack, so to say, to this. But it has, for us, like in our group, it has a very deep meaning as well of kind of entering each other's emotional space, and then also not being victimized in difficult situations. That's also very important for us. And it's also, I call it like the history of our bodies, how harsh experience gets stored in the body and how it affects you and how you can let it out. And for me, like this idea of bringing other people into your emotional... Oh my gosh.
I think Dogo agrees.
It's like...
No.
Yes.
He wants to be part of this project.
He is. Oh my God.
Woo. Woo.
Baba. The dogs of Georgia.
Yeah.
Yes. So collaborations, and for me, it's also important to kind of challenge the tokenism culture of like bringing women because we need to fill a few spots with women, or like people of specific nationalities because it's because it's trending right now. So it's all about that. But in as a, I don't know, the final result is the audiovisual performances that you can see in cultural spaces.
I love how you're like fascinated by storytelling, and the way you describe it is very beautiful. And thank you for that, for sharing this. Because I'm already motivated by just hearing how much you love this part of like storytelling and sharing it through like music and audio, and it's beautiful. I would love to empathize and discuss the victimization part and, you know, the trending part, because we also discussed this. He's protecting us, or is the sheep? Is it? Yes.
I love it. Yeah. There's one more, a big one coming.
Oh, incoming. There's another one.
For me, it's like really big dogs.
You're what?
For me, like it's really big dogs.
Oh no, they're huge. Honestly, for Georgia, they are big.
No, baby. Oh my God. Anyway, go. Coming back to Diaci. Yeah.
I would love. Victimization and the trending part of it, right? Mm-hmm. We also discussed this on our workshop, and I would like to also share this with our listeners. There is this whole trend going on, and I mean, I think everybody knows this, the female empowerment and everything, which is fantastic, and it should happen this way it is. And you said this one very good thing, like obviously you will get these people who will probably criticize that, oh, this is just a trend, blah blah blah, and everything. But what you said was really nice. I mean, yes, it is trending, and we understand it's trending, but use it for your own good. Yeah. And I completely agree with that. But I think, especially when it comes to victimization, I think probably, especially during war, and all of this kind of really had a really bad impact on people, I think. And I would like to maybe you would like to share some stories about that, and how the storytelling part through music and audio is important when it comes to that.
Well, that's a lot to unpack. Yeah. But so that's also like a topic that I've been working with in the last 2 years, because I'm Ukrainian. I have a lot of Ukrainian friends from the creative scene, and I also work with artists who are in Ukraine and travel. And obviously it became like a huge thing to like book a Ukrainian artist, because there was a war in Ukraine, and that's amazing because people wanted to support and give space to the artists who cannot do things now in Ukraine because it's invaded by Russia. But it was also very obvious that it will not last for a long time because the attention span is very short, and it was also obvious that this war will not end in like a month, you know. And I was saying from the beginning, it's like, okay, it's a trendy thing now, not trendy, kind of happening, right?
Yeah.
Not trendy, maybe like trending, thing. As there were waves like with the female artists, with the queer artists, with the people of color artists. Then you have Ukrainian artists. Then there was like a wave of Arabic artists as well. And we talked about this. We talked about tokenism, where it comes from, how it's superficial, but all this, like, it's worth criticizing and deconstructing, of course. But also, I think I was telling the artists that use this chance while you can, because it will pass. And I think we have to work with this as well, you know.
What do you think could be like that? Because, like, honestly, like, if I'm coming from, like, if I had a venue in Germany, for example, and I know, like, currently there's a war, and I know there are like artists coming from Ukraine, and I want to support them, you know, and you do that, and obviously, you know, doing it just for 3 months, and then if it's not trending, which is a horrible word to use in this case, obviously, but you know, if it's not trending anymore, then I'm not gonna do this anymore. But like, what do you do as a venue? Or as a, like,
I have some answers to this.
As a human, you know, how do you actually support? Like, do you protest, or what do you think would be the correct way?
So I have the answer to this because I also worked in this way, and I have a series of events now that also address this topic. Of course, protests, demonstrations, people coming together, also understanding that there are places in the world where you cannot come together, so it's very powerful to be on the streets, to be loud, to meet other people like this as well. In terms of events, for instance, what we did, like I had an event, I think mid-first year of the war, was called Letters to Kiev, and that was also the idea, was to honor Kiev and, you know, as a center of resistance right now, and to invite Ukrainian artists, but to also invite international renowned artists, like we had Space Africa and Laura Croft and Nastya Vogan and Mariana Klitschko, who are Ukrainians, the two female artists, the last ones, and to mix audiences, and also to explain to the international artists that maybe they can donate their work with this and support and kind of promote in a different way, that it's not just about them, but this is them joining the mixed lineup. For me this is like very strong. We did this thing with Space Africa. It's a duo from Manchester, and they have this very collagey electronic music, and they also have in their live performances, they have this video collages. So what I did is that, like, we invited them to play, but I worked with friends in Kiev to film and like to collect some footage of the streets of Kiev for me. And then we could edit it with my Georgian friend Veska Sekta, who is also like a resident at TES. But that's the thing, it's like everybody's doing something together. And when you explain people what you're actually doing, they really want to participate. So Veska edited this video for us, and we had a performance of the Manchester guys with their aesthetic sort of, but showing Kiev. And it was like a postcard from Kiev to their performance, and it was very powerful. So, and this again, it comes down to the storytelling again, you know, and I think people really resonate with this. You know, like, I don't know, I felt really, it's a lot of work, but I felt really supported, not financially, but kind of like with the human resources. And this has like really strong impact. People remember those events, you know, and I have to, I'm doing a series of events now with another collective in Berlin called Time. The collective and our event series are called Ties. And that's exactly kind of a broader look at this approach, but not just for the Ukrainian scene, but for other diasporic scenes in Berlin. Because it's kind of like what I learned, like what I really appreciate about Berlin is the sense of community building. because of course it has a lot of people, it has a lot of different people, diasporas, immigrants, refugees, exiled people, and everybody has their own little bubble, but they very often they stay not connected, and of course you cannot just like come and enter and hi, I'm entering your bubble now. But you can start some dialogues about this. So we have a series of workshops as well on community building. For instance, now I'm coming back to Berlin. The first thing will be a community building, common unity in displacement, it's called, and it will be with a Syrian multidisciplinary artist, Kusei. Also, I know him through like activism and doing events like this, like speaking about being a part of diaspora, and we will kind of deconstruct this as well in a conversation. Then we will have an event where we invited people from different communities, from Lisbon's Principe, Nidia, and Ukrainian artist Nastya Vogan, who is like huge in sense of her impact and work in Kiev. And then Kusei and Abadir, who is from Cairo. But for me, it's so important that we don't just, like pick up people from different origins and we make a diversity lineup. I talk about this a lot, that it's not like we really know what they do. We really curate it well.
Actually invested in you.
A lot, and then we really ask them to invite their people. We offer, in the way we can, like we calculate how many people we can invite, and we really make an emphasis, like please, like if we can invite some people for free for you, make sure these are people who are interested and also cannot afford it. If they can afford coming to money, like please support us as well. So it's all, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but I don't know, like why would you do this kind of stuff otherwise?
No, but it is really fascinating, honestly. Like, because currently I think what happens in Georgia, and like I'm coming from my own perspective, like there are moments when I'm like hopeless, there are moments when you're like, okay, let's do this, and then there's always like, even in like in our communities and like people in our bubbles and everything, there you can feel this hopelessness of like it, and then they will either decide to run away or like go find someone in other countries, or like just not do anything, not even demonstrate anymore, because it sometimes feels like you keep on doing it,
but you get tired.
It does, you get really tired. So
I don't judge that.
Where did you find that motivation, and where do you get that?
But
how do you
honestly,
keep on going? What's
I think
your
because
advice?
I live in a place where there's money for these things, so it's I am a big advocate for like speaking openly about money.
Wow, fantastic! I love that.
We don't have like I never earn anything from my events. This too will be, I am earning for the first time actually in all these years something for myself.
Wow!
Like I have a fee because we got a cultural funding for the first time over this whole years, and I'm like really proud of this. But everything is like really small fees, of course.
Obviously,
so we're not talking like a salary, but still. And but then still, like there are events like this because there is money involved in the culture. In Georgia, in Ukraine, you almost don't have it. Everything is very DIY. So for me, I never judge people who like end up giving up or getting exhausted or burned out, because it's very difficult to do this kind of thing.
Basically, you have to you work twice, basically, because you have to actually work for your salary, and then you also do something.
But I mean, I still do this in Berlin. It's not that I'm living off the culture, but still, there is some, you get invited to some event, there is fee for you, there's always some cultural money, and here there's no cultural money. So let's start there for me, It's not that somebody is like more motivated or talented. It's like, for how many years can you work without being paid? There's limit to this. And so that's why like places like Georgia...
Yeah, because you've been here for many years. I mean, you come...
For sometimes.
And I would also like to hear your thoughts about this industry, because I'm pretty sure you have some. Yeah,
I mean, I'm very fascinated, for sure. Especially when it comes not to established clubs, but to what, for instance, Trap House did this time, right? They do this out of their motivation and passion and understanding that like things have to change. Misogyny is still strong. Although we speak about like revolution, it's still so much work to do, like how women are perceived, how like female artists are seen, and that they are, as you said in our interview, there is always this like feeling of being a side character instead of being the main character, and like speaking about sisterhood through these things. So for me, like smaller initiatives, like a radio station, like Mutant radio station, smaller things that don't have like a very strong financial motivation behind them or support. I'm so fond of this. I think also from what I see how Tess runs, I mean, Basiani, Hidi, of course, there's like established places, but like how the smaller initiatives run, what you do as well, I think it's really like heroism for me. I do the same things in Ukraine as well, in Berlin as well, kind of like giving a bit more space to people who cannot just afford I don't know, like afford
anything.
anything. And I also think for me, I also always emphasize this, that you can only do it in a like with your group of people. Yeah. I also realized I'm not a person of a collective mindset. Like I don't like when there's like a flat hierarchy and everybody's responsible for everything but not for anything. Yeah. I don't like that. But like when you have your people around you and they know that it's like they know their responsibilities, then it's really amazing. Yeah. I also think it's like for women, because we do this as women. Yeah. There's definitely much more pressure I think it's like so much pressure for women to fail. It's also one of the things we spoke with one of the dancer artists for the documentary that we're filming here. That's like there's a image of a strong Georgian woman, and the same like Ukrainian. You have this lady there on the hill, and we have even a bigger one in Ukraine. And there's like always this. You have to be strong and powerful, but also tender and also feminine and pretty,
have some kids and
like
work
have like 3 kids, and like be a good housewife, and all of these things is like and I think
I want.
It's kind of like there's a lot of pressure for a woman to be perfect. I mean, in Ukraine as well.
Honestly, in one of our interviews in Diaci, one of the musicians actually, what she said, and she said it out of like, she was like, I'm really sorry about this, but even me, when a female musician and someone else is playing, I'm always sitting there and being like, oh, she might fuck up something, especially when it comes to technical stuff. And she said that she hates it about herself, but every time a female artist was playing, she thought they would fuck up. But when a man was playing, there was no thought of that. So it's also about, being raised that way, because how females should not like each other and they should compete with each other for a man. And this
this
whole
is
very
horrible,
old and stereotypical and horrible.
We still all live that.
Yeah, there is some part in you still, unless you actually admit it. And a lot of people don't want to admit that they have that in themselves because it's not the nice thing to admit and to have. But until we go through this mindset of
how often we also think like that somebody is succeeding just because she's pretty. Or she has a nice body. Like how often we think that, like just like catch yourself thinking that. Yes, because you will.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who, she is amazing, and she's probably the prettiest girl I've seen, and she has that. Like she even sometimes doubts herself. She's like, did I get this because I worked hard, or did they did this
and
because
this
I'm
kind
pretty?
of this thing of self-doubt, I think it's like I don't wanna, like, I'm not a man hater or anything, but I think it's like this kind of thoughts, they exist so much less in male heads of self-doubt and like not delivering enough, like never delivering.
I mean, when you're a main character, you don't have that.
Exactly.
In your head.
So it's I mean, like I struggle with this a lot, and I have like this I don't know, pathological feeling of guilt. That's like I didn't deliver enough in so many spots. I also like have someone told me about women have this like very strong creative power, and we it's like the, how do you say, like sublimation? I don't know if it's a word. So it's like we have to like create those projects, but also we have this because we give life, so we have this very strong sense of responsibility, and it becomes the sense of guilt. I think you need to check in with yourself a lot, and I think it's like you need to have your girls around you, like to like calm you down and say like, hey, like enough, it's good. And
honestly, like the main problem that I see, especially in female artists, is that like be proud of what you do.
That's very hard.
Honestly, be proud, because I mean, you work for this, and it might not be the best track or the most perfect song you have ever created, but like, be proud of yourself that you managed to write this, you got out, you had audience, and just leave and be happy and be proud of what you did, and you know,
I think it's also
grow up,
I think it's also a good thing to cultivate among ourselves, like as women in like female-led communities, or I mean males as well, whoever is a feminist, whoever thinks that people should have equal rights, that it's like, it's kind of in us that it's hard for us to be proud of ourselves, so we need to like remind ourselves like that I'm proud of you, and hey, I know that you should be proud of yourself, you know, so maybe we can do this at least to each other, you know?
I think communities, especially when you have community, that's very helpful, because you know, like, at least you have 3 or 4 or 5 people who are like, we are actually super proud of you, so calm down.
But it has to be kind of a part of the conversation, I think. For me, it's also really hard, but if it was not for my girlfriends, I think I would be already like dead. No, really.
No, I get it. I get it.
So, and my best girlfriends are Georgians.
Ooh,
Yes,
nice.
I'm adopted into a bigger Georgian family in Berlin, and that's why I have this connection as well. That's why I actually like know spaces, because I follow them through my Ukrainian, through my Georgian friends, and it's a very strong.
There are a lot of Georgians in Berlin.
Yeah, but I don't say that like. I just have a few. I have a few that I'm very strongly connected with, and as I said, like one of them is a resident here at TES, and it's just like we share. This also Beska showed me Diaci actually.
Thank you.
Okay. So
to go back to more like not technical, but like more into details about, because I mean we have some journalists, including myself, who would also like be interested into creating something outside of this country, right? We have some blogs here, and we have something that, you know, we have like blogs that we can get paid and everything. But like, what would be your advice or anything? So these girls or even boys, you know, if they could, like, how do they reach out to these people? How do you think they should act, or like what sort of I don't know, not
but
CV,
to what people?
Like,
to who people?
Do like bigger platforms. For example, if they want to write for, I don't know, some bigger platforms for like for reviews, music journalism. That's what I mean. Is there any advice that you would like to share?
I also have a workshop for music journalists.
That is true.
It's also kind of I have very egocentric projects always, because it's like I think it's like would be nice if somebody did a workshop for me when I started, and I'm like,
I mean, I love this. It's fantastic. Though.
And that's I have these workshops that it would be nice to do it in Georgia as well with you. Maybe next time we can actually do it, because I think it's very easy to organize. But it's you know, like how bigger platforms like Resident Advisor or like ID, Electronic Beats, it's like from music kind of lifestyle things, how they write about other scenes. You know, it's kind of like a journalist who is like Berlin-based, London-based, travels to a place, meets a couple of people, writes a story, makes sense. But then there's always lacking, the context is always lacking. And my idea is always that it would be so nice if you had a local journalist that you can collaborate with. And of course, it would be amazing if there are more local platforms, but it's really hard to sustain, so I totally understand this. We have to also understand that like big music platforms run not on journalism, but on like selling tickets, for instance, or organizing events or selling something. So if there's nothing to sell, you probably don't have money to organize media, which is okay. It's bad, but we should be able to have media platforms, would be amazing. But having this kind of a network of a couple of journalists, like you, for instance, have it here, so that people who come can reach out, or like, oh, I'm researching this, can you help me? But not for free, do all of my research for free, but like this is a journalist fee from my big platform that sells tickets, that's why we have money, and maybe you can help me. So this kind of network, and more like of a scene activation. So I've done this now in Ukraine, I've done this in Krakow at Unsound Festival, in Lyon as well, but it was always like I was invited through some bigger cultural things. But I think it would be amazing, like for instance, I want to it was also my dream to produce an issue of a magazine in different locations. I wanted to do Lebanon, kind of for the Middle Eastern as a center there, or maybe Cairo. And then I wanted to do Shanghai for like more Chinese music landscape. Now I want to do Ukraine. And it's like all written down, like the concepts are really, the contents are written. It just like takes time and money to produce. But I always wanted, like the idea was that we come to a place, we do a couple of writing workshops, we speak about like it's very practical. We speak about the formats that suit this publication, we speak about tone of voice, about interviewing, we kind of sit and produce in a very condensed manner a couple of articles, then I have the material, I'm the publisher, I work with like a proofreader, but that I have this like accumulated material by the local writers.
Yeah, that's
who have
fantastic.
the, you know, like the flavor of the place.
They relate more, they know exactly what to say and what to
but
show.
also it's like through this workshop for me, it's also recognizing, admitting that it's not so easy to just, it does not really exist here as, for instance, in London, where the culture of music journalism is for generations, you know, that it's, you don't necessarily, as if you call yourself a cultural journalist in places like Georgia or Ukraine or Poland, it's not your first job, you know, like it's good to admit this. That's probably not how you make your money. But that's why as a little community, when you offer the space for writing, for discussing, for editing in real time, you don't delay and kind of procrastinate for 2 weeks, months to deliver something, but you do it in a very fast and productive way. So that's my approach, but the advice I have, like, I think it's just not so many music platforms right now. I think actually that the music editors from the platforms I got to know, like Resident Advisor, Crack Magazine, myself, are quite open to this. It's just they are very overworked all the time because they do work, even if it's their job, they do work for like 3 people. And it's, of course, like when somebody new reaches out who is not, hello, hello, baby.
No.
I'm not so like easy with the big dogs.
Me neither.
Yeah, so it's not that they don't appreciate you. It just they get a lot of, including myself, a lot of random emails with promo, with this, with that.
Yeah.
Interesting idea comes in. You're like, okay, I want to do it, and then
There's
you don't
a lot
do
of
it.
information,
Yeah,
though,
because you also don't, like, you as a person who just wants to write something doesn't have the credibility. So I think networking is very important to get to know each other. And I just want to do more of this. For instance, there is like a network called Reset. I think they are started in Lyon, and it's run by also people I know, super nice people like Lohan, Juliette, Manon, and I also suggested you to write to them. They do like media activation in different sports, and they work, for instance, with Mutant Radio here. I don't think it's really like a financial support, but it's kind of networking support. So this is happening. This is definitely a topic. And they did something in Lviv, like more in Eastern Europe as well. So they want to see who wants to work with media. And I think that could be also for you really cool to be a part of this network somehow.
Yeah, we actually discussed it, and thank you for that advice. And we'll probably for sure.
It's like they are real good people, you know, and they are searching for, it's for now, it's like a part of the network. I don't think that this is really like a funding opportunity for now, but they work on that. So I am a big fan of networking. And kind of like creating media.
Yeah, I think at this point, networking is the number one thing that you should do as an artist, or as anything really in any field. Yeah,
because it's like I've done a lot of work before I was actually invited somewhere, like to talk and to teach. I think it's for us, for people like us, like doing little things, creating content and stories, it's really important to network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should wait for that workshop in Tbilisi then.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm remembering this.
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, we can definitely do it next time. Yeah.
What is your thoughts about the Georgian music industry though?
The one I know because I'm more connected to the club.
Yeah.
I think it's really great. I think it's very authentic because Georgia is separated from the rest of the world more, like, because it's not in European Union, it's not so cheap to travel, so like young people don't have so much money, so it's the same in Ukraine, especially now since the full-scale invasion, and people just like make their own stuff and make music, and I think it's amazing. Yeah. I have like I know some musicians here, amazing. I think from like DJ perspective, I mean, I think the last set that impressed me so extremely in terms of techno was by Cancelli from Bassiani. It's like, I know that he's a legend here, but for me it was like, yeah, and I heard him in Berlin at Iskra. Same like with Beska, who's one of my best friends. It's like how he has the audience here. It's like people really like, people like really love artists when they love them because it means a lot to them. It's like there's no this feeling of, like just everything is just so disposable, and you have this in Berlin for sure, much more. Yeah,
because
so
it's a lot and it's kind of now spread it.
And
for now it's a very, I would say, like a close group of people who are, this is for some people it's the only space that they can.
But also, for
free
instance, I don't know many musicians from punk scene, but when I hear something and my friends sometimes show it to me.
When you're here, we are going to make sure that you get to know these people.
I want
because
to.
They're amazing.
Yeah, but
there's not a lot of females, unfortunately, yet, but maybe before June, maybe we'll find someone.
Yeah, but I think it's like I can absolutely understand that with the spirit that Georgians have, the punk scene must be amazing here.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's
a lot of fun.
I just wish we all get a bit more money for other things, for our things.
Yeah, that money.
I mean, yes, money.
Money.
I don't know why it's like I'm always like this materialistic person talking about money because nobody talks about money in culture. But I don't have like rich parents to make tracks at home and then go to like a ski resort.
My separate home.
No.
No.
So I mean, I'm talented enough to do big things, and I think you as well, and so many musicians around us, and. Yeah, it's just like you need to be paid. Like you need to eat.
You need to eat, exactly.
So who's gonna talk about that? For me, it's very important.
It is very important. I mean, because this is why
it's like these people organizing like a festival and then going to live for half a year in Bali. I mean, I'm sorry, like no.
No, but I think in case of Georgia, not all festivals, but there are some festivals that would actually go like in a minus, and they would. Yeah,
that's why whoever does things here, like really what I saw now with Trap House, amazing. Yeah, we also were able to support them a little bit through the program that we're doing now because it's a part of like a special funding from Jägermeister, Cultural Emerging Scenes. It's so amazing to like when you have this opportunity to share with people like Trap House in this sense. Yeah.
Nice. Mariana, please also share your future plans because one of the future plans is I know that you're going to come here and
and do all these things.
Workshop.
Yeah.
And then we will also go to this Discover Punk scene. But what else? Like, what are you?
My future plans is to work now more in Ukraine, travel more to Ukraine, be much more involved with the Ukrainian artists because I'm taking over this label now, which is an amazing label. We have so many talents there. We also, through the war, we realized that our having Berlin as a role model does not work. That we need more unity in kind of what's called Eastern Europe, although I don't believe in this terminology. For me it doesn't work because it means that everything that is like behind Germany, like beyond Germany, is some kind of East thing. Which is no. So for us, Ukraine, Georgia, Poland, Czech Republic, like this kind of commonwealth is very important culturally now, and I want to like really invest more of myself in this, into things that we also discussed at our workshop, like what it means to see yourself as an artist, take yourself seriously as an artist. Also for me, like the war in Ukraine and the crazy human losses that we're experiencing now, like I don't even want to go into this because it's a big topic. I mean, it's like I don't know what's the level of this tragedy. It's crazy, but for me it has to be like the recognition of this is that Ukrainian artists need to be seen as the part of Europe, and also like as a part of the cultural funding from Europe. So I want to work on that. I don't know yet how it's done, but I want to work on that.
I'm pretty sure you got this. You are very, very inspiring, and like honestly.
And like also
the energy, woman. Where do you get it from?
From Georgia. Yeah. No, but it's also like from Lobio this week. No, but also like I realized that now, especially like German cultural scene got very weird. Like with Ukraine it was already weird because of the liberalism there and like the being in denial that there is like fucking cruelty going on in the world, and be like peace, like peace would be nice, but like nobody asked peace, us like peace, and then what's happening now, also with the like perception of the Middle Eastern world, of Arabic people, like versus Jewish state, Israeli state. It's very strange vibe right now in Berlin and in Germany, and I don't want to be a part of it. I also think this, like for the way I think, I'm already gonna get cancelled very soon there. So definitely like it makes a lot of sense for me to like go east, like go back home, and where this like energy is really needed. Because just fighting with some like rich Germans.
Honestly, there's I have a friend in Denmark, and he was telling me that every time he comes here, he's kind of like he remembers that there's stuff going on, and there's like important stuff. Because every time he goes there, like even if he shares the information about countries like Ukraine or Georgia, because he also works in this field, he says that there's a point where he talks to them and they just can't understand it because they've been like in wealth for like 5th or 4th generation, and they just cannot relate to this. They just don't. There's no thing in their brain where they're a bit delusional.
But it's like, what I learned, that you cannot fight this.
No.
There's nothing you can prove. You just like have to make yourself cool, and then they will want to have a piece of this. Yeah,
but like this is why storytelling and bringing all these different people together is so important, because maybe at some point any of them will look at this and be like, okay, maybe there is something. At least think about it for a little bit. That is at least some sort of a change. So that's already good. And obviously for people who come together, this is the main part for them to kind of feel freedom and relate and to feel that little coziness in their hearts.
Like feeling of belonging and of like relating is very important. I think it's also still a very important learning for me, because sometimes I'm so surprised that people are interested or like want to be a part of something, and then I understand this, like the feeling of belonging is very strongly embedded in us as humans, and this is like very important to cultivate. Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we're good. Thank you, Mariana, again for sharing your information and everything and your time, and you're amazing. I really hope that this motivation and this inspiration, everything, just this burning in your heart and everything.
If you're a sponsor,
keeps going.
If you're a sponsor, a potential sponsor, please contact us. We will advertise your brand here and here. We have no boundaries with this. No. Just give us money.
No standards, nothing.
No, nothing. Just give us money to build communities.
Okay. Thank you, Mariana.
Thank you.
Mwah.